New York Jets.
I guess we have to. We have no choice.
Bleh.
All right.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Zach Maziarz Wilson. You think that's funny, Joey? Throwing that into the...
I do. I sure do. Zach isn't here. We can make fun of him now. Oh, man. Zach Wilson. Do we think he has success this year?
Let me ask you something. Would you rather have Zach Maziarz running your fantasy team or Zach Wilson?
Well, Maziarz has a fantasy, or I guess he has been on a fantasy show, so I think I'd take Maziarz.
All right.
Okay. Well, we could talk Zach Wilson. Do we think he has success this year? Jets quarterbacks have never been productive. But will Zach Wilson break the mold? Just plain and simple, no. They've
is he even being drafted?
2008, so no.
There's no value. There's so many better quarterback options.
There are, yeah.
And I was looking at his college stats. They're not really even that impressive to me. I don't see him having a good first year with the Jets.
I don't either. I mean, there's more talent there now than there has been in like the last 5 years or maybe even longer. And we'll talk about the talent in a minute. The thing is, he's a starting quarterback in the NFL, so he's going to score points somehow. But, the same could have been said for Sam Darnold. And he was out there seeing ghosts. So I don't know. I don't know about Zach Wilson. I think if he has some success, he could be a tempting option if he has success off of waivers, and you go spend fab on him, you go spend waiver priority on him, and then he busts for you. So I would probably, and this is early, but I would probably avoid Zach Wilson probably at all costs, at least this season.
Yeah, you don't have to draft him. If he's showing some promise in the season, you can pick him up.
Even then, I'd be worried, but yeah.
Yeah, the more interesting debate, Tevin Coleman or Michael Carter? How are you valuing these guys?
That is an interesting debate, and we kind of talked about this a little bit on our mock draft because we were talking. You were pretty high on Tevin Coleman, and convinced me to take him. Both of these backs I kind of thought of them as kind of the same build, kind of a bigger guy with breakaway speed. Tevin Coleman has shown that he can produce when he was backing. He was in that 1-2 punch in Atlanta with Devontae Freeman. And then he was on the 49ers in a terrific rotation of talent, which they've just, replaced him basically. Right now, Tevin Coleman's probably got the job. And I'd probably value him a little bit more than Michael Carter, but he's one of those late round guys. We got him in the 9th, maybe 10th round. Actually,
Tevin Coleman,
even later.
13th.
Yeah, we got him even later. And he's a starting running back. So,
he's listed as first on the depth chart right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So Tevin Coleman has some value here, especially with him going so late. I'm trying to find his ADP real quick while we're talking. But Michael Carter, do we see him taking the job away from Tevin Coleman at any point in the year? Or at least early on?
Yeah. Early on, I don't think so. But later in the season, Tevin Coleman's history, he gets hurt every season, it seems like, and misses some games.
Yes.
I think that will happen. But Michael... If you could pull up the ADPs, because last time I looked, Michael Carter's ADP was ridiculously high. Tevin Coleman's was ridiculously low. If it's still
All
like
right.
that, Tevin Coleman's the better pick.
Obviously, Coleman right now is 12-11, and Michael Carter is 11-08. So they've sort of evened out, but
Yeah.
I'm in agreement. I think, you're not. It's the draft. You're not drafting your entire team. You're not going to finish your fantasy season with the same team that you start the year with, that you draft, right? You're going to make trades. You're going to drop. You're going to add. Tevin Coleman's probably a good late round draft pick at that price, at around 12. He's probably going in the right place for you to pick him up, and maybe you play him one or two times before the writing on the wall is that Michael Carter steps up and he's the new back. And maybe it's a rotation. Maybe it's RBBC. So Coleman still has a little bit of value, but you paid you got him on the cheap. So I think, Coleman's probably the better value, but, not by a whole lot with those ADPs. They very well could change throughout the summer.
Coleman, I think, is going to be maybe weeks 1 to 6 at the most. It'll be Coleman. After that, it'll be Carter. And if you draft Carter and Coleman's playing and get all the fantasy value, I feel like most people are going to end up dropping him. So maybe Carter will be a waiver pickup later in the season.
I agree.
Well, how about these wide receivers? Do you want anyone here? Corey Davis, Crowder, Mims, Elijah Moore?
It's definitely a step up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a step up than what it has been. I'm not super high on all these guys because we've never really seen a lot of production out of New York in their offense, but literally everyone is new on this team except for like Jamison Crowder. Corey Davis, his ADP right now is 905, which isn't terrible, honestly, for a guy who's expected to be the number one on this offense. But will Corey Davis actually be that number one? I am in the camp that he won't be. I think he needs another stud type wide receiver next to him, like last year with A.J. Brown. He's not going to be the one.
Was he even productive last year with A.J. Brown?
Yeah, no, he was. Last
what
year.
What did he finish as?
I don't see his last year's finish, or I can't find it, but he finished last year with 92 targets, 65 catches on 92 targets, which is decent, 984 yards, and 5 touchdowns, which is definitely better than he has been doing before. But Tennessee's offense was on a whole new level last year than it has been in the past. They were able to run the ball extremely effectively and pass the ball very efficiently, which I think a lot of that goes to play action because of you have an absolute locomotive in Derrick Henry running the ball. But Corey Davis isn't on the Titans anymore. You're not in Kansas anymore, Corey. You're in New York. Spotlight's on you on Broadway. I don't think he does it this year.
Yeah, Tennessee is a much better offense, and here's his fantasy points. He got 158.9 fantasy points total. If you're looking at drafts,
he's a wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
Or a high-end wide receiver 3, low-end 2.
And that's probably his ceiling.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. It doesn't get much better. After Davis, Elijah Moore, I think, could be a decent flyer. You could pick him probably with your last pick. I don't think he's going anywhere. Any of these Jets receivers are really going that high.
If
Jamison
you
Crowder,
see the
maybe.
Depth chart, Corey Davis is listed as a starter with Denzel Mims and Jamison Crowder. Elijah Moore is in that 4th wide receiver role right now.
Yeah. I think he has potential to break out, but I just love his production from college, and I think he has a great profile.
Last year I kind of liked just eyeball test with Denzel Mims.
His wasn't bad, yeah.
He looked like a big athletic wide receiver. Maybe with more work he could kind of break out. I don't think it's this year. Maybe we'll start seeing the steps, though. Maybe he's someone we're talking about next year.
He could be. He could very well be. And he could very well be a waiver pickup. Instead of taking Zach Wilson, you'd rather probably have that wide receiver with Mims or Moore, maybe even Crowder. But, yeah, not a lot to look for in these receivers just yet.
Well, do you want any of these tight ends? Chris Herndon, kind of a fantasy. He's always talked about in fantasy circles.
He is. He's so athletic. That's why he's. But I don't know. I really don't know if you want Herndon. No, I don't. I'm not going to talk myself into drafting Chris Herndon on the Jets.
Yeah, no. There's other guys. Maybe multiple guys I'd rather have on my roster than Chris Herndon.
Most likely. This ADP's 1909, so you're picking him up off waivers anyways. We don't want to talk about the defense, do we? No.
I don't know how they're going to stop people and get you fantasy points.
I mean, well, the thing is, they do have C.J. Mosley back, who is one of the highest paid linebacker contracts of all time. And he's sat out for the past 2 years with injury, and he sat out for COVID last year. I don't see the Jets doing anything, though. I'm not playing them. They'll have that one game against one of the Houston. If they ever play Houston, then you may want to stream them if there's no other options.
Well, how about the fact that Robert Saleh is now their coach? The old defensive coordinator from the 49ers. All right. He has to make some improvements to this defense.
He will.
Does that make you any more interested in him?
You're right. He will make improvements to the defense, but he ain't out there tackling anybody.
He could. Have you seen that, man?
I haven't really. I've been thinking more about Logan Thomas from last week. I still don't want the Jets. It's still the Jets. Yes, Saleh will make improvements. Not this year, but maybe next year they'll pick up some more pieces.